to the big news of the NFL, and that is the Roger Goodell versus NFL versus Deshaun Watson versus the public opinion case that is happening right now. Obviously, Roger Goodell, Combs, says there is enough evidence out there to have a full-year ban for Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson, through the grapevine, through his lawyer, through his public person and Twitter and whatever else, said he would accept a 8-game suspension with a $5 million fine. First things first, to me, Combs, by Deshaun Watson saying that he would take an 8-game suspension, is that passively, aggressively admitting that you've done something wrong?
That was my first my first reaction to it too. Like, oh, Deshaun, what are you doing? But at the same time, I think that Deshaun's lawyers probably came to him and said, hey, look, the NFL usually doesn't lose these things. So why don't we make them an offer? And look, again, you heard my side of the Deshaun Watson thing. I think that this is a guy who has had no real evidence brought against him other than accusations. And he now has not only missed 17 games. I mean, granted, he sat out last year and he still got paid for it or whatever the case is. But 17 games and now 6 or 8 or even another 17, I just think is a lot for a guy who's had nothing but accusations, like no proof, no nothing. And then, I'm arguing with this guy on Facebook again, like he's worked for ESPN. He's now doing a radio show out in Tampa Bay. And I'm talking to him and he's just like, keeps coming back at me saying that, the court of public opinion, it doesn't matter if he did it or not. I'm like, to me, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, what do you mean it doesn't matter? Why does somebody's opinion matter more than the truth? And he's like, well, if you did this in your job, would you be able to keep your job? And I'm like, I mean, I would like to think that if I get accused of something, my boss would allow me the opportunity to defend myself. And then if we go to a trial or whatever, or we go to a grand jury, or even if it doesn't even go that far, even if he's just investigating it and he can't find any real evidence other than accusations, that he's not going to be like, well, you know what, you've done a great job for us, but hey, we're going to have to let you go because somebody said you did something bad, even though you say you didn't, and we have no real evidence to suggest that you did. And that's where I have the problem with the suspension. But Deshaun Watson willing to plead this down and be like, look, I know you want a full year. They only gave me 6 games. What do I get? Because to me, if I'm Deshaun Watson, I'm going the other way. I'm saying, look, I'll settle at 4 games. I mean, the stuff that I was accused of, you keep saying is heinous and in the court of public opinion, it looks really bad. I had a female judge in which I had no defense tell me I was only worth 6 games.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, we could put it up against other suspensions. You put it up against, Ray Lewis again, 0 games, body in the back of his trunk. Then you look at a similar case, right? Ben Roethlisberger, 2 rape allegations, proof against him, 4 games.
Yep.
Right. And then, I'm told that doesn't matter because now they're going to put their foot down and they're going to show that now the integrity of the game is this or is that. No, your integrity of the game was lost when you said that all of this other stuff was okay, but now you're going to come down on a guy that has no evidence against him. That to me doesn't suggest integrity of the game. That to me suggests that you feel like you could do whatever you want whenever you want. And the NFL has proved that time and time again. They suspended Terrell Pryor for getting tattoos in college.
Yeah, in college, which just makes 0 sense to me. But
you know what I mean?
Yeah, so
but Adrian Peterson could go and beat his 3-year-old kid bloody in the genitalia and not get suspended.
Well, and win a league MVP that particular year as well. But with that being said, Combs, like, our guys here, Wayne G and Soup Boss, had a very healthy discussion in one of our posts. I believe it was Wednesday. I think they had a very healthy discussion, and like I didn't know quite understand how a grand jury worked, but I didn't know that basically the state or whoever is prosecuting basically presents all of the evidence, and there's no defense lawyers there at all. They're just simply saying this is what he did. This is the evidence. And out of 30 cases, there wasn't one concrete, just a little bit of concrete proof of like evidence in two grand juries there. So when Deshaun Watson basically started to pay off these people, it wasn't because of he was guilty. It was because of the criminal aspect of it. It was because the criminal charge. Basically, from what Wayne G said, is you can be criminally charged and basically not be guilty, but then you will still have to pay fees and fines and like all that other stuff. So this was basically kind of like, hey, let's just settle just out of court and we're good to go. Wipe your hands of it and move on. Now, on the other side of that coin, when we see this, say, hey, I will take 8 games. I am paying these people off. And then my lawyer comes out and says, happy endings aren't against the law. This tells me, Combs, that Deshaun Watson is starting to realize, hey, maybe I did do something wrong. Maybe there is some type of guilt here. And he is trying to basically cover it up before it gets too out of hand.
Where Deshaun Watson was wrong was he was in his hotel room alone with 27 different call girls. That's basically what this tells me. Is like, hey, look, I know it looks bad because I had call girls in my room. Now they're saying they were massage therapists and are accusing me of other stuff, but I was wrong. It's like when a husband, gets caught with a hooker in a raid, right? He goes back to his wife. He's like, look, I get it. I was with a hooker, I'm sorry. But I didn't do the other things that they're trying to say that I did. You know what I mean? Like that's basically what this is. And I don't know. I have a huge problem with it just being the court of public opinion, because just like all of these people, it's the same people that want to ban Deshaun Watson from the league are the same people that want to say, oh, well, this has to happen and this has to happen and listen to me and I have the right to protest. Well, you're right. You do have the right to protest. I fought for that right, but I also fought for Deshaun Watson's right to be innocent until proven guilty.
Facts.
And he has not been proven guilty yet. And there hasn't even really been a shred of evidence to suggest anything else.
How about this?
I don't understand why people have such a problem with looking at it from that side of the fence. Why it's almost like they are afraid to be wrong about it. Like they're afraid, like I can't defend Deshaun Watson because if I'm wrong, then I'm going to look like a horrible person. But
yeah,
imagine if you're wrong about Deshaun Watson. You're willing to ruin this guy's career over false accusations if they're false accusations?
Right. Well,
that's okay to you?
And then on the flip side of the coin, let's take those same people that you are talking about. Let's take it down this real rabbit hole, and let's talk about this vid. These are the same people that said everybody needs to get a vaccine because it is the right thing to do, yada yada yada. And then these are the same people saying my body, my choice. Well, where was that energy when the COVID was around? Also, on of everything that you are saying here, Combs, people I think are afraid to defend Deshaun Watson in the positive light because I think that makes them think that they are a bad person. Like they think that by supporting them, they are coming out and saying like they want to support sexual assault, support rape, support happy endings. That's not it. I support justice system. I support innocent until proven guilty. I support saying everything doesn't add up. Basically, what happened, Deshaun Watson wanted out of Houston because the ownership sucks, and then all of a sudden, wow, 26 rape accusations happen. That doesn't add up. We've been talking about this stuff not adding up for a couple years now. It seems like.
And if it was what they're accusing him of doing, why are they having such a hard time showing proof? Why are they having such a hard time? If these were legitimate businesswomen who were legitimate massage therapists, why are they having such a hard time? Why didn't they press criminal charges?
Exactly.
Why is this only staying in a civil matter? Yes, there's enough, whatever to be in a civil matter, but hey, I could take you to court right now, Tori, who I hear you in the chat. I could take you to civil court right now just and say you did something. That's enough to take you to a civil court. It's just hearsay, but then I have to prove it. And they've had 2 grand juries with no defense for Deshaun Watson in these grand juries. 27 cases say, yeah, there's not really anything there. You're not proving anything to us.